Welcome to the 100 Master Coaches series featuring master coaches from around the world. Let's journey together on this 100 Master Coaches series, with your host, Coach Mel, MCC. Marina Jankovic is a master certified coach with 17 years of international experience in business management, talent development, and executive education. She is the author of the book, Your Time to Shine, which provides practical wisdom for readers to create the lives they want by embracing challenges, leading with courage, and creating a better world for the generations to come. Now on to the show.
Hello, and welcome to the 100 Master Coaches show. This is Coach Mal, and today my guest is actually from Serbia, but currently based in Sydney, Australia. Please give a warm welcome for Marina Jankovic. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mel, and thank you for making this platform for all of us to exchange our stories and our ideas and our learnings.
Well, it is my great honor and pleasure. And, it's just an amazing journey so far, right? For us in the 100 Master Coaches show. And we've just spoken to so many wonderful coaches in the world. And of course, you're my first in that part of the world. So I'm really excited, Marina.
I'm excited too, and I appreciate your work very much.
Thank you so much. So let's begin. Perhaps we start with telling a little bit about who Marina is.
That's an interesting, broad question. And Marina has lots of different roles in her own life. As most of us have. Yeah. So I'm a mom to two beautiful girls, also wife to my super supportive husband. And also I'm really proud to call myself a professional coach. It is a privilege to be a coach.
Absolutely.
And so, yes, I truly identify with that.
Thank you. And speaking about being a professional coach, all of us have our stories of how it all began, isn't it? So we're going to get to that right now, Marina. How did it begin for you?
It began out of curiosity. I studied economics and started my career in a big multinational company in marketing. And 5 years down the road, I was really happy, enjoying the different aspects of that role. But I felt that something was missing. And again, when I reflected and attended some trainings, the big question for me was, what creates that spark for me? And it's always been around people, about connection, about the bigger question, what motivates some talented, smart people to follow their dreams. And then I decided to study organizational behavior, simply to be closer to that field. Again, in my role, I would be always the one to put my hand up, to get involved in some people initiatives. So I was really lucky to get that intercompany move and to actually start working in talent team. And on top of that, also to start developing a diversity and inclusion agenda. Coaching was a big part of that. And only then I discovered that coaching is something that really connects all my passions and my strengths and my interests. And that's when I started my first coach training. So it was a story that basically began in-house. But since I've been lucky to actually being able to explore different coaching fields and upgrading my own style and help a few internal coaching roles as well as external. So that's how it started.
Wow, that's beautiful. I mean, we both share the same start. I'm also from marketing, from FMCG side of things.
Same.
And that's a different world altogether, don't you think?
I think so. And I really think it complemented my coaching practice in those early days. Just understanding also some pain points and realities of people I work with.
Yeah.
So that. it somehow came together. But
Yeah.
definitely, go back to your question, started out of intuition and curiosity.
Curiosity. Yeah, in marketing, I'll just segue for a bit, on the side, just park for a bit. We talk about understanding the consumer's mind, right? Understanding what drives them, understanding what makes them to choose a certain product, right? That when they choose and all these kind of stuff, right? And I guess it's kind of linked, isn't it? As you were saying, it's kind of linked to us understanding the psyche of people. And as a consumer ourselves, we choose to make decisions in a certain way, don't we? Right? Based on our conditioning, based on what we're exposed to, all of that. And it kind of, as you say, yeah, now it kind of makes sense. Huh?
Complex human beings. But yes, it's all about what drives us and motivates us to make those micro decisions as well.
So from there, you went into the talent side of things. I'm hearing that story. And obviously the company was already doing some sort of coaching there, and you took your first certification whilst being an internal person. Tell us a little bit more about that. How is it actually being an internal coach, right? Because I'm sure people that are listening to this podcast are coming from different sides of it. Some are obviously external. There are actually some internal as well. So yeah, I'd love to know your perspective.
Yeah, so I'll start with just summarizing my few first years of coaching as an internal coach.
Sure.
And to be honest, Mel, it started as more like performance-based coaching. And at that time, it was also something that kind of was also popular to involve coaches. If there was a team conflict or something that also would help individuals to improve their performance or to transition to the next level of different role. And I had to also later learn again to do some things, unlearn some my coaching behaviors and practices. And why I say that, because in those early years, I could see that coaching made difference for those people, but it was probably too much focused on doing. And how do you close the gap? How do you prepare for something different? And there was mostly around a preset list of competencies, which helps. And I don't want coaches on this call to think that that's not helpful, just helping their clients to understand their goals and how that breaks down and create their action plans. But it really then later helped me to understand, being involved in some more in-house, also holistic coaching world, how coaching can make a true transformation. And I also had to unlearn also about my habits to have to know or to solve problems for my clients. So I had to also learn to trust my intuition more. And I would say almost also in-house coaching roles, they were quite different. But I think they were also different because I committed to my own development and staying curious, just thinking, how can coaching make that transformational, bigger change and mindset shift? And that's, as you know, as a coach, that's when magic happens.
Totally. Yeah, I hear so many things you're saying that I resonate with. How we've kind of moved from that whole, coaching is about meeting those gaps. It's about performance management. It's about that competency of developing this leader, which is all important. But now more so, it's talking about that holistic sense, right? Who is this leader himself or herself, right? Who is this person right now, and who is this person in the next couple of years? Who do they want to be, right, as we prepare them into those steps forward? I'm just curious, Marina. I've not really been an internal coach, so that's why the question is coming, right? And of course, I've worked with a lot of HR partners, and the inside stuff, they say it's a lot more challenging because there is those internal understanding, whereas the external coach often gets to get away, right? We're not in the system, so we get a break from it. But how do you manage?
I think, coaching ethics is still very present, and all the coaching competencies and confidentiality is key. So I still hold that safe space for my clients. And I truly believe that they never get into that mode of thinking, where will this information go? And it's important because that's another thing that it has to be aligned with overall coaching philosophy. So companies I worked for, they truly wanted to support their employees, and they wanted to offer that not only to a small group of leaders, but also to everyone. And I think this also links to my philosophy of coaching. And I believe that it's something that can make a difference at all levels and different kind of companies and industries. And that's basically what really motivated me to be part of something which is still internal coaching, but where I see that it can make a bigger difference. And also addressing some bigger questions such as what can you as a leader do, yes, for yourself, but also for your teams? And what can you do also for future stakeholders? That's something that I also see as part of my role. And it's just been beautiful because for me, that's been one of the ways to amplify also my own impact as a coach.
Definitely. I hear this often about HR wanting to launch a coaching culture. Well, sometimes it doesn't come from HR. It comes from, of course, some of the leaders themselves. Yeah, they see the benefit of that. Imagine if a company were to appear right now, and they may even be listening to this podcast, right? What do you think would be some of the thoughts that you would share on how can a company who perhaps is not so exposed to coaching at this moment begin taking those steps towards building this coaching, as you say, not just in the top level, but all across, right? It's like having that coaching culture assimilate throughout all the different levels. What would you say?
I would say there is that aspiration, there is a way. And I hear more and more companies truly want to embed coaching culture and to form internal coaching teams as well. Of course, there is benefit, I would agree, also external coaches and different perspectives. So all of that can work together, but you also know leaders have to make a choice. And I think if it's that true desire to help people unblock certain things, to discover who they are, how to make the bigger contribution without being concerned that that will be too limiting or that something will go against maybe their agenda, then I'm pretty sure that internal coaches will find a way to build those relationships and to collaborate. So it's kind of two-way. And I think it's also our responsibility to educate people if we think they need to be educated. What is it that coaching can achieve for them? What's the value that's adding? So I think every story is different, but I've been happy recently. I hear that there are more and more companies who are taking that seriously because they understand the impact. If they don't, what's going to happen? So they are then less concerned about what will my leaders think or what do I want, but there is a true desire to use coaching as something, as I like to say, is the most effective tool for learning and developing. So I like to believe, Mel, you can tell me your view, that people are waking up in that sense as well. So and started being more open to coaching as well. So we know that the profession is booming right now, and there's so much more that can be done.
Yeah. Well, Marina, I'm extremely biased.
I
think coaching is like fresh bread. It's not stale bread. It's not like everybody needs bread as well. I like bread. I'm quite a bread person, even though I like my rice as well. So I do eat a little bit of carbs, right? But make sure I exercise. Okay. So this bread concept, right? I think everyone has a different version of bread that they like me, I like these sourdough breads, right? The heavier breads with the crust on it, and it's a little bit more artisan, right? To I love the smell of it and all that. And then there are people who would prefer wholemeal bread, and then others would just want toast, white bread toast. Different breads for different people. And I think coaching is like that, because I don't think there's one size fits all for a coaching, even a coaching culture. If you want to introduce it or inculcate it into an organization, it's not just the same strategy that we've done it with another company, and that's why we're going to push it through into this company. It has to have that aroma themselves, because every company is different. What are your thoughts on that?
I first of all like your metaphor.
Thank you.
And I agree. And that's why there's no one magical solution. And I think we coaches also, we need to sense what is the right space for us, where we can add most value. And that's something that I also learned, to also trust my intuition and to feel if that's the right environment, if that's the space where coaching can make a difference in a way how I would like. But you're right. I mean, there are so many smaller pockets where it's still very beneficial to have coaching perspective or coaching approach to doing certain things. So it doesn't have to always come in the same shape and form.
I hear that you have actually worked and lived in 6 different locations. Am I correct?
You're correct. Yes.
So tell us a little bit about that difference, right? Because every place that you're at, whether it be London or UAE or a different place now in Australia, people appreciate bread differently. It's a different sort of bread, even though it's bread. Bread is bread, but everyone's gonna expect it differently, appreciate it differently, use it differently. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that one.
And that's why it's so important. First of all, you're right. That's so important to know who we are as coaches as well, and who does our work serve, because there will be many challenges. And some things we might say in some geographies, coaching is less developed, but it doesn't have to be only that. It can be any country, any location, and we still face many challenges, right? And we get we get asked to do something, and if it's not aligned again with that coaching philosophy, it's on us. So yes, to educate, but also to be assertive in a way. And I think if we are there to also empower our clients to do the best work of their life and to revisit their values, we need to do the same. And I always say we need to be grounded as well. So, and I truly understand so many aspiring coaches, they are worried about having their space or making enough income. And I understand, I appreciate all of that. But I also think that that's not the only part. That's not the only and the main, it shouldn't be the main concern, because we are all in this profession for a reason. It's not our hobby, right? And I think reflecting on your questions, you are right. Every country also gave me opportunity to reflect on where coaching is as a profession, how it's understood, where potentially might be opportunities for a coaching community to also rise above and to, if you want, fill the gap, if there's a gap, or maybe just amplify impact, whatever you like, what sounds better for you.
Yeah. I'm just going to ask you in specific, right? Because you've been in a couple of places, right? What would be that challenge that you faced, right? That culture was maybe just a little different from yours. And then the language obviously is another layer, right? And then the coaching style that you bring is another layer. And then, of course, there's this whole thing called gender bias, because there is all of this in different parts of our world still, right? So when you put all of that together, what was your approach when you faced those challenges as a coach?
Yeah, probably that's a work in progress, right? I mean, that comes with our maturity.
That's true.
And sometimes it's hard to expect to be fully confident if you maybe a new coach, you don't have that competence, so you struggle. So in my case, it was to try to understand also my own hesitation, my own fear, and then to also understand that there are some things I cannot change, and then focus on what I can change. And I think that's probably the most pragmatic approach. I'm not saying it's easy, but people are biased. We are all biased. And I think that's, again, maybe a good experience to have as a coach, because it also gives you that depth when you go with your clients to some places, you explore their fears, their limiting beliefs. It's valuable experience. So that's how I like to think about it. That's how I like to embrace it. And of course, I mean, many occasions where simply we expect something, but then we hear there's completely different interpretation of what coach should be doing. And that's normal. I think it's normal in every profession. So I think we just try to still keep creating those courageous moments, opportunities for ourselves, push the limits, and over time, I believe we become more confident as well. So we radiate that different energy. So all of that together is just part of the process.
Yeah. And through that journey, Marina, what would be a couple of key insights? And I know this goes across a lot of different locations and different contexts, different life moments for you as well, right? Personally. But what would be some of your insights through the years as we move that dial forward into you becoming a more seasoned coach? What would be some insights that you have gotten so far?
I mean, first of all, that there's no end. There's no, even, of course, I mean, for me, it was a big milestone to get a credential. But I am so aware that there's so much to be done, and that we must keep learning. And I think the moments we start to believe that we are masters, we know everything, our master will stop. So
yeah, it's true.
That's one thing. Secondly, I really truly take seriously that reflective process, even when it comes to my own work. And again, as I said, having to unlearn certain things, also trying some different things, and going to those coaching conversations with less need to perform, to impress. That's something that in those first years, it was the most important to me, just to get that good feedback.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
Now it's, and again, that's a process. So now it's less about that. It's being fully present there for our clients. And I think one insight was just to reframe that whole expectation. And I truly see myself as my client's thinking partner. So I'm not there to fix problems. I'm not there to find solutions, as I trust their ability and their wisdom. And the big insight for me was that whole energetic field. It's not sometimes what we say or how many shiny frameworks we can offer or ideas. It's just to be there. And I think we all exchange, as we do now in this virtual room, we exchange that energy. And that's something that matters. So that's what I define that presence, because we coach with our heart as well, with our gut, and we need to also use our instincts. So all of that together, I don't have one big thing, but that's something that I still, actually, I keep reflecting on those learnings. And that's also how my coaching evolves. One insight, one thing that I again have on my list, and I always remind myself, is about the purpose of coaching, which I know sometimes we talk about deepening that awareness, elevating awareness, and that's really important. Yeah. But there's something about also elevating consciousness. And if you think even about that statement, about that definition, just asking those questions, like, how can I support my clients to maybe become the leaders that future needs, not only now? How can we co-create that coaching relationship to be inspiring not only to us now or to their stakeholders, but also future generation? And I think that's just a wonderful partnership then, because you can never be bored. You can just push yourself to grow and to develop. And of course, it's then just amazing to also see how your clients start thinking from different perspectives and also start acting in a different way. So all that like ripple effect is something that I'm still very observant of. I still reflect daily. I still try to ask the same question myself, coaching community. And I think that's one also learning and insight that we need to have on the radar. It's again, in a nutshell, less about performance now. It's more about what coaching can truly bring to the world, not only present, but also future.
Is that the question that you're asking? I'm just curious.
I asked that question in one of the recent ICF blogs, and I don't have the answer. But I think that's the question that probably, if you ask me about how I hope the future of coaching would look like, I hope that we will have more of these debates.
Yeah. I'm smiling because I'm in a little research right now about the future of coaching. So I am exploring, I'm learning about it. I've been asking quite a many coaches 3 fundamental questions, which I won't say it here today, but that's what I've been doing for my own growth, to kind of connect with that future consciousness of coaching, right? As a whole holistic body versus just seeing it as a federation, right? It's part of life. Coaching is, to me, like a lifestyle, isn't it? Where it's not just about the questions we ask, but what you were saying before is about that contemplation, that reflection. It's about taking it away on a daily basis, quietly with ourselves and sitting with ourselves and realizing that there's so much more to unlearn, to relearn, that we think we already know. So
fascinating how we are exploring similar fields here.
In your reflection, what would be that wish for coaching in the future?
I would say that we coaches see ourselves as part of a bigger planetary system, if you want, and then think about how we align our practices to make a contribution in that sense. And I don't want to sound too philosophical, but I really see that need that we need to move away from comfortably maybe coaching individuals or our clients or a small group of people to encouraging our clients to think more systemic about their own life, first of all, because we all know that all life aspects are interconnected. We cannot be great leaders or set some big goals and have a certain lifestyle if, for example, our health is falling apart. Or we cannot show up for our team if our relationships are broken. So at every level, and I think also community level and much broader, like a planetary level, if you want, that's something that we need to play a role in that field. And we need to help our clients see themselves differently and also empower them to empower themselves as well. So that's my hope. It's my hope to move away from just comfortably maybe coaching individuals and being in our space as coaches who maybe have good feedback and they've done everything properly, to maybe just shaken a bit, like shake a bit the whole thinking. And I get challenged now. Like I had a question recently in one of the coaching meetings, but is that really our agenda? So our role is not there to push the agenda. Our role is there to dance with our clients. But I would argue that's everyone's agenda.
Yeah.
Like planetary destruction, for example, what we do today and what's the world even that we leave to our children, that's everyone's business. So of course, finding that sweet spot, but working with clients as well and finding our way to build partnership, to encourage a different way of thinking and that mindset shift. That's my hope for coaching profession.
I love that, the whole systemic thing, because we are all connected, interconnected, every part of it. It's all linked up, if you like. Right? And I guess coaches locally often think, and I say that because I do know I'll work with certain communities in Asia and even in Australia. So I'm speaking from that point of view. We often think a lot within first, I would dare say. Like, for example, you think for your ICF chapter, right? Versus thinking of how that representation can reach a bigger playing field, a lot more than just looking internally and serving just the members within the ICF.
People often, they want good and they want to make a bigger contribution. Yeah. But it's sometimes just more comfortable to stay in your space. We know it, right? Because it's known.
Yeah.
And that's going back to your question, is also our responsibility to challenge ourselves. Yeah. To become a bit more comfortable with uncomfortable, or asking those different questions, or maybe stepping into something that we haven't done before, maybe finding new ways to accelerate impact of our coaching, or extend, maybe extend the reach in a way. So I would say it takes a bit of courage, and I think if we are aware that that's what's going on, my hope is also then we can embrace our fears and be a bit braver.
Definitely. So Marina, coming to that brave point, what would be that brave that you have perhaps taken in your career as a coach, a professional coach, and of course an internal coach yourself?
A recent thing that I did, which was uncomfortable, so let's call it like that.
Sure.
I published a book, and for me that was a big thing, because of course so many beliefs I had, like could I even write in English, or how would that work? But then the moment you publish your book, you actually open yourself to all sorts of criticism. So being brave to willingly expose yourself to something like that. I think, Mel, you're smiling because you've been there. You know how it feels.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that I see as like, this was brave. And in that sense, again, not one event, but all collection of smaller courageous moments, step by step.
Yeah.
And then in my coaching practice, I would say being brave, again, being just courageous again in every situation, to go to those places with your clients that are maybe less comfortable, or to go with your intuition, or again, to offer some observations that you simply do because you feel that something's going on. So you trust your instinct, not with that need to be right, but truly with that need to open new horizons. And again, even going to those places of helping clients to see their impact and bring some future stakeholders in decision making. That's quite powerful. Even recently, just talking to a client, and then of course, the company agenda and different things and different aspirations. But it's just completely different perspective if you then bring the whole new field and all aspects of life, as you say, and families and children and future grandchildren. That's then a completely different level of conversation. And I believe then a consequence of that is a bit more holistic thinking and more systemic thinking. So again, being brave to do that, even when you're not asked, I find it's a big thing. It's that small win on a daily level that I believe over time will make a difference.
Yeah, definitely. It's just like the book, isn't it? It takes you to write one page at a time.
True.
Right.
Yes.
Of course, having formats and making sure that you've got the chapter represented and the content and all of that as you know it. And then, of course, the whole thing about actually writing it one page at a time. Just like what you're saying, like being brave in those little moments every single time and just stretching ourselves. And sometimes it may be uncomfortable.
That's what we underestimate, our collective power to just be a bit braver every day, because we are hoping for some big miracle. And maybe society also put pressure on us that we have to wake up one day and find that purpose or do something new, amazing, or know exactly what we want, even if you feel stuck. I really learned to appreciate that in my own life, my own practice, and I hope I'm also making a difference in that sense to my clients.
Well, definitely you are. You've been very successful as a coach and, of course, making a lot of impact in different organizations throughout different cultures and places of where you choose to live with not just yourself, but with, your whole family, as you were saying at the start, right? So that must have been brave as well, moving to different places, Marina.
Probably reinventing myself every time a little bit. Yes.
Wow. Well, you are here now. We're just a city away from each other, right? I'm in Melbourne. You're over there in Sydney. Congratulations on launching your book. I've launched my book this year, right?
Congratulations, Mel.
Thank you.
And I know we are connected wherever we are, any continent, but I know that we also share that passion and that spark when it comes to shaping the future of coaching as well.
Just your thoughts, Marina. There are obviously new coaches coming in every single day. What are your thoughts for the ones coming in right now as we face a very different world, perhaps from when we started off in those days?
I would say that's a good thing. And I'm always excited to hear that number of members is growing exponentially at ICF.
Yes.
I think that also brings more responsibility, like the whole profession and also new coaches. And we also know all sorts of challenges the whole society's been through. So again, to stay grounded, to continue personal growth as well, and never lose sight of that. That's probably a challenge for many, many people and probably many professions, not only coaching profession. But I would also say that they're all here, I would assume, for reasons. So they chose to certify with a certain dream. And there's definitely, as we said, like so many different pockets and so many different ways to think about how to make a difference and also grow as a coach. And I think that's definitely a good thing. And again, it comes with certain responsibility as well, how we all together collectively shape this profession.
Yeah, thank you. Well, it's been a pleasure hosting you today. Any last thoughts for our audience today?
I will just add on the last thing is my assumption is that coaches or aspiring coaches are listening mostly to your podcast, but it's the same thing also for leaders. To be brave and to be bold and to experiment. I think that's something that I wish I did more maybe in earlier years, to go less for advice and maybe more with that mindset of I want to explore, I want to find a style that works for me. I also want to make things and that whole experience enjoyable, because that also brings value to the clients. So that would be my final thought. Just be open and be brave. Even, if it's just one small thing every single day, that's the only way to continue to grow and develop.
Thank you so much, Marina. And this has been the 100 Master Coaches show today with Marina and myself, Mel, saying take care wherever you are and continue going after your dreams, one step at a time, being brave. We'll catch you on the next one. Take care now. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Mel.
You have been watching the 100 Master Coaches series with your host, Coach Mel, MCC. Brought to you by Catalyst Coach. www.catalystcoach.live. We will be right back with our next Master Coach on the 100 Master Coaches series.